So normally, for your information, next month we hope that we are going to be able to restart the meetup face-to-face at the company. This is where we normally use to do the meetup, and hopefully we can restart it the whole way, not by Zoom.
But you still have online.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's mandatory anyway. But online we cannot do the free pizza anymore. Yeah. Yeah, pizza voucher for everybody. Okay, let's wait a bit. Reminder. Still have people joining, so let's wait until 7:10, and then we're gonna start. And if you don't mind. Hello, everybody. Welcome. I see that some people are joining, so. We had more than 45 people registering for this one, so I guess BAN protocol is the hot topic of the
exactly
of the month, I would say. And yeah, so we really appreciate, Kuntan, that you're taking the time. And
yeah, no problem at all. It's my pleasure.
I believe you have been quite solicited those days. Everybody wants to have BAN protocol explaining what's going on.
Yeah, we have quite a lot of things going on our side, so it's been quite busy and all.
I think, yeah, this is what we are going to talk about. I saw a couple of announcements and really exciting future for them.
Yep, definitely.
Okay. All right. If you are ready, then let's start, and then for the others, they're gonna join a bit later. So yeah. So hope you can all hear me well. So welcome to the 11th edition of the Bangkok Blockchain for Enterprise. We started almost a year ago, and we are really happy tonight to have Kuntan from BAN Protocol to join us, and Khun Boom, our lead developer at Atato. And just for the people who don't know us, at Atato, we develop a blockchain platform for enterprises. We are doing that in Bangkok since 2017, especially in the finance industry. So we wanted to create this meetup for the community to be able to share blockchain use cases and blockchain application for enterprises. And of course, during the past few months, we have been inviting people from the DeFi space, and because this is something which is really happening quickly and which is going to grow very, very fast and very big, we believe. So today we have also Teresa Wong from Blackspaper, our partner, and I will let Teresa introduce herself.
Hi everyone, good evening. I'm Teresa. I am from Blackspaper. So Blackspaper is shortened by blockchain plus newspaper. So actually, our website try to bring the latest information about the blockchain and cryptocurrency. And we are a community-based news media. So we try our best to share our knowledge to contribute to Thai blockchain community. And thanks for having us.
Yeah, and yeah, for tonight, so we have two presenters, and of course, Kuntan from Band Protocol. Is the lead integration engineer, and is going to present us about Oracle, Oracle services, and then Khun Boom, which prepared the presentation on Web3, and I think it's going to be a good complement about Band and what's going on in the space. So welcome everybody. Kuntan, the floor is yours, and let's go for your presentation. Just one thing before I let you go. If you guys have any questions, please use the group chat. We will read them to our presenters, and then everybody can enjoy and hear about the question. So if you have anything, please use the chat, and we will communicate it to our presenter. Thank you very much, and Kuntan.
Sure. Yeah. Just let me share my screen for a bit. Oh, crap. I think I might need to.
Is everything okay? Normally.
Yeah, I think I need to restart because Zoom's asking for permission or something.
No problem. You can.
Yep.
If you want,
sorry about that.
Just a minute. Don't worry.
Yep.
And yeah, since we just wait Kuntan to restart his computer and to join us, and the reason, of course, Band is the very hot Thai company of the moment, but it's really, I believe, a symbol about what's going on in the DeFi and the finance space. And what we have seen at Atato, it's actually growing demand of financial companies looking at blockchain. So this is a good momentum, and we are very glad to have Thai companies which are actually leading the space. So very exciting to see what's going to arrive very soon. And Kuntan, you should be able.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yep. Just give me a second.
No problem.
Okay. Should be fine.
Yeah.
Yep. Can you see my slide now?
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Yep. So yep. Hey guys, thank you for joining me today. As Max said, my presentation today will mainly focus on explaining what a data oracle is, why it's needed, and how Band's oracle fit into the picture. But before we get into that, let's first set the scene. To do so, we will be taking a look at decentralized finance.
Yep. Kuntan, can you just make the screen bigger? Because I believe we don't see your presentation, but just your...
I think you should share another screen. Yeah, okay.
This one should be...
Yes, that's right.
Sorry, yeah. So yeah, as I've been saying, before we get into that, let's first set the scene by looking at decentralized finance. Over the past few years, DeFi has grown from something akin to an experiment to an entire industry all in of itself, one with now more than $7 billion in total locked value. And while a multitude of factors definitely play a role in this growth, I believe that the majority of it comes from the industry's ability to overcome one main limitation it previously had. And that is the issue of data availability. Let me explain. Traditionally, despite the name, smart contracts just aren't all that smart. What I mean by this is that although blockchains are undoubtedly great for immutable storage and verifiable computations, their use cases have been quite restricted. The main reason for this is that most blockchains are not aware of anything going on in the real world, nor can they access data not native to the chain itself. This includes any data available through traditional web, as well as those accessible through APIs. And when you consider just how much of these two we use today depends on those data, the problem becomes quite apparent. And while there have been a multitude of efforts to solve this issue, most, if not all, have come to meet at least one of three main limitations. First, they are typically centralized by design. This not only goes against the ideology of decentralization and trustlessness, but also represents a severe potential security flaw. Relying on a central authority to report the data means you are exposing yourself to the possibility of data manipulation or outages, both of which can have catastrophic implications on any services that depends on, not to mention on the end users themselves. Second, many of these are constrained by network congestion. This is mostly the result of the solution being on the same blockchain as the application itself. Thus, if the blockchain network were to become full with pending transaction, the data request transaction themselves will also be delayed. Finally, they are typically expensive. This comes from both the cost to research, develop, and deploy the solution, as well as the various costs associated with operating and maintaining it in the long run. With all of these limitations, this is where data oracles come in. Oracle solutions such as bands act as the middle layer, operating between the smart contracts or decentralized applications and the various data sources. Their task is to then handle data requests coming from the dApps, query the data from the corresponding data sources, and report the results back to the application. Band's Oracle then differentiates itself from other Oracle solutions in four main ways. First, it is fully decentralized by design and secure through monetary staking incentives. Second, we have designed Band's Oracle to allow maximum flexibility in what the requester can query. With only one transaction required to be executed on the requester's chain, Band's Oracle is also highly scalable. Finally, we are able to provide the most up-to-date and real-time data by batching Oracle data requests with normal user interactions. Let's take a closer look at each of these points in detail. First is decentralization. Our Oracle infrastructure is built for maximum redundancy on two separate layers. One, our blockchain, BandChain, is operated by a globally distributed pool of validators whose performance and actions can be easily monitored and verified by anyone. When a data request is made, it is these validators that will be responsible for fetching the results. These results reported by the validators are also taken from multiple sources, which acts as our second layer of redundancy. On this point, BandChain's dedicated proof of stake design further helps to ensure these validators have monetary incentives to properly and correctly report the data, or risk losing the capital they have staked as well as their reputation. Finally, the entire data request flow and validator performance are publicly available to be viewed, verified, and audited by anyone. Next is flexibility. Band's Oracle is built to allow maximum freedom in terms of the data that can be requested, as well as the computations and mutations that can be done on that data. This is made possible through our data sources and Oracle scripts. Data sources are the most fundamental unit in BandChain's Oracle system. It specifies the primary source from which BandChain's validators will retrieve the data. An Oracle script is then the piece of code that defines the logic of the data request. In particular, the script specifies two things: the set of data sources that the validators will query data from, and the method in which to aggregate the result from those data sources into the single final result. These Oracle scripts themselves can be programmed in multiple programming languages and act very much similar to smart contracts. Then there's the benefit of BandChain's scalability. Unlike general purpose blockchains, BandChain is specifically designed for Oracle data requests and computation. This is clearly reflected in the benefit it provides. For one, an average block time of only 3 seconds compared to Ethereum's 10 to 15 and Bitcoin's 10 minutes means that data request transactions are both received and resolved very quickly. Not only that, we are also able to offload all the heavy Oracle computations from the requester's chain onto BandChain, which have been specifically optimized for these sorts of tasks. All of this boils down to the fact that an average data request to BandChain's Oracle can be expected to resolve in less than 6 seconds. Finally, there is the issue of cost. Band's Oracle allows anyone looking to request data to do so only when they need to, and pay the associated fees on a per request basis. This is significantly more economical than having to, say, update the price of an entire set of assets, when in fact you might currently only need the latest price of one. On the adoption front, we have been actively partnering and integrating with various other blockchain projects. These projects can be broken down into two main groups. First, there is the various blockchains themselves. These include the likes of Cosmos, Waves, Icon, Binance Smart Chain, and Elrond. For these, we mainly focus on implementing a bridge interface to allow developers on these chains to integrate the various data provided by Band's Oracle into their applications. For example, we have just recently completed integration with Binance Smart Chain. With this, all the developers building on BSC now have access to the price of more than 10 cryptocurrencies, commodities, and foreign exchange conversion rates to use in their applications. The other group is existing applications and protocols that have chosen to integrate Band's Oracle into their infrastructure. An example of this is Bet Protocol, a centralized gaming platform that has recently decided to use data from Band's Oracle to power the upcoming esports betting platform. These are just some examples of the integrations that we have announced so far, and this list will continue to grow as we work towards our phase 1 mainnet launch and beyond. And that's all I have for today. Thank you for listening, and I'm looking to any questions that you might have.
Okay, thank you, Kuntan. It was, I would say, full of information, and I think we can maybe dig a bit into it, and we'll start asking some questions, if you don't mind.
Yep, sure.
Yeah, can you just kind of rephrase for maybe people who just arrived and so on, what is an oracle and basically what is Ben doing?
So I think that can be split into two questions, right? So BAN is, we provide a cross-chain oracle, a cross-chain data oracle for decentralized application and blockchains. And what an oracle is a way for decentralized applications and blockchains to be able to pull data from the real world. Let's say the various prices of a cryptocurrency or stock prices or events that may be happening in the real world. Because traditionally, smart contracts cannot access any of the data that are not available on the blockchain state themselves.
Yeah, it's because for people who are not really familiar with the blockchain space, it's very difficult to have the two worlds communicate to each other. So this is what we are doing, right?
Yep.
And before I ask my question, Teresa, you want to ask anything?
Yeah, then how can project benefit from using different oracles, like solution, for example, using Link or using you guys Ben or Trailer? Would it be more secure?
So I think that depends on the result that they want, right? So definitely for some application or some protocols, they would like data from an oracle, definitely, but also they might want data from, say, another solution to be able to either cross-check to see if there's any like inconsistencies or anything, just to increase the security and the verifiability of the data coming into that they will be using in the applications.
Okay, got it.
And yeah, so just would like to explain, we are talking a lot about decentralized finance, DeFi at the moment, because this is what oracles are focusing at the moment. Do you see anything above, I mean, outside of decentralized finance using oracle, like other businesses, other kind of informations?
Definitely, I think there's definitely room for other industries to pop up in the blockchain space, right? And DeFi is something we mainly focus on because it's an industry that has been here for arguably the longest and kind of have risen to prominence, especially in the last years, as we said. But Definitely, because especially with our solution, we are quite flexible in what data we can provide. So if, let's say, some projects might want to say whether an item have been delivered yet through like a delivery service API, we can also provide the data for that for the project to build their application on top of that data as well.
So exactly, it's not only about decentralized finance, any kind of information can be treated. Yep. Yeah. And we have a question on the chat, and how validators and from Vasily, how validators and data producers get paid, where funds are coming from?
So every time that transaction happens, right, there will be a small fee that is split between the validators that confirm that block on BandChain. So that's one way that they are getting paid. And in the future, we are planning to, in our next phase of development, we are planning to implement like private APIs as well as paid data requests. So that might potentially be another way that validators can earn the money through the efforts of staking.
Okay, thank you very much. I believe it's replying to Vasily's questions, and maybe I will expand. Teresa, you want to go ahead first?
It's okay, but yeah, I can go ahead first. Yeah, I think you had touched on this a bit for the implementation. But I just want to know more about what is your roadmap? I mean, because I mean, like, can you walk us through Ben's you guys roadmap for the rest of 2020 or maybe next year? It's welcome because we will really want to know, because as you may move from Ethereum to BandChain or Cosmos, right? So just want to know about what's your plan and what you are going to do maybe in the rest of 2020 and next year. Yeah, thanks.
So for the rest of the year, I think our main priority right now would be, definitely launching our phase 1 mainnet, which will bring our data Oracle solution to the mainstream and to our main blockchain, and as well as continue to integrate with various blockchain projects. But once that kind of settles down, our next phase, we plan to, as I said, integrate and implement a way for private APIs or paid APIs to be able to be included in our protocol as well as implement a way for the requester or the data source owner to be paid when a data request is made to their sources and APIs.
Okay.
So that would be, I would say, would be our plan for early next year at least.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll just follow on Teresa's questions, because I was reading on your blog that actually on the 14th of August you launched the phase 1 of your mainnet, right? And you will bring this is going to be a switch to proof of authority. Can you expand a bit more on this?
So about 2 weeks ago, on, as you say, the 14th, we launched our proof of authority mainnet, which is basically a network that is at the most similar to our potentially our real mainnet that will be coming later. But all of the validator nodes are currently operated by the Band Foundation and the Band team. So currently there's no public validators or community validators operating nodes on that network yet. And that will be coming once our actual mainnet launches live.
Okay, and do you guys? I know in the IT world, the launch dates are often pushed back, but do you have an estimated launch date?
We don't have a clear launch date or timeline for that we can announce yet.
Okay. And I just want to follow on Vasily's question. He said normally a read requests are free on blockchain. How do you charge per read request?
I'm not sure what read request means, but basically how we implement the request transaction is it's another type of request on our own network, which of course we can further customize to like enforce that a certain fee must be paid or something. It's not. I think what he means is that when you basically read smart contracts or blockchain state on Ethereum is free, right? Minus the transaction fee. But on BandChain, when we are actually querying, like, let's say private APIs that have subscriptions to them, of course, it would be uneconomical for those to be free in the long run. So we will be implementing regulation for the requester to have a fee attached to those requests for us to actually process the request.
Okay, and thank you for your explanation. And I have one question. I know it's something that people always ask, but your main competitor is quite famous as well. It's Chainlink, as Teresa mentioned. And but can you, if you can clarify, what would be the difference between Chainlink and Ben? I know you cannot talk too much about the competition, but if you just explain if there is some differences.
So as you said, we try to stay away from corporation, but we believe ourselves to be able to, as I said, be more scalable in how fast we can provide the data and how fast the transaction can be resolved. And in the future, we believe that having our own blockchain can have further benefits that we will be definitely exploring in the future.
Okay, I understand you have to be politically correct, and it's normal. Yeah. I don't ask you to do anything outside of this, but sometimes we ask in our meetup, because we have often questions from developers. If any developers want to start trying experiment on Ben protocol, what would you recommend? What kind of what should they do? Who should they contact?
Oh yeah, definitely. So you can either contact myself, or there are a variety of developer resources available on our website, as well as our developer documentation. And feel free to join our Discord or Telegram group as well if you have any questions that you might want, or if you want any help from our team members.
All right. Okay. I will. Vasily is quite active, and so do you see I will just read the question. So blockchain data will not be publicly available. So can you charge by API calls?
So the blockchain data, the actual BandChain state data, of course, can be seen and verified and viewed by anyone. But the data associated with a call to an API we don't have a solid plan on that yet, but we have planned for at least the data requester who will be actually using the data to pay for that transaction.
Sorry. Okay. Hope it's a reply. It's an answer to your question, Vasily. And
yeah, but of course, I mean, anything can change as we don't have a solid roadmap for our phase 2 or how we're planning on implementing that yet.
Okay, understood. Thank you very much for clarifying. And Teresa, you want to ask any question on the attendance? Anybody would like to ask? Some questions.
I think that's pretty much from my end, but maybe do you guys have any official activities other than tech develop? I mean, like other than the official tech announcement, do you have any other, like, such as offline activity in Bangkok in the next few weeks?
I don't believe we have any activities planned just yet for the moment, but
Okay.
that's something that we are definitely planning to explore once the whole COVID situation dies down a bit, and something that we will definitely be announcing once we have an idea of doing something.
Okay, thank you.
And I have a question which normally I don't ask, because in this meetup we normally don't talk about cryptocurrencies and prices, but I think it's quite relevant at the moment. I mean, Ben has been on the top of the news recently because of your Coinbase listing, and I just wanted to know, did it change anything? How do you guys manage all this craze? And you stay focused on your roadmap, I believe, but anything that you can share?
So definitely we have been both actively trying to pursue new opportunities in terms of both partnerships and trying to grow our community and all of that. But as you said, we have still, despite all the news and the hype that might be going around, we are still very much dedicated and focused on meeting our roadmaps and building things for other people to use as soon as possible and as best as we can do.
And how big is your team now? And can you share how many people?
Right now, I believe we have around 12 people in Bangkok at least. And we also have a few people spread around Southeast Asia and all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for your replies. And we are. I'm not Thai, as you can clearly see, but living in the country for quite some time, so it's really nice to see Thai companies actually on the front of the scene of the blockchain space. So yeah, congrats to all of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any questions from the attendants? And Dan on top is a developer, so if you have any technical questions, it would be interesting to post them in the chat. All right. And yeah, okay. Maybe we can restart the question after on the Q&A, and I will let Khun Pongsabutra, Khun Boom, which is our lead developer and engineer at Atato, for a presentation of Web3. And we are just going to switch the mic, so give us just a minute. Okay. Thank you very much, Kuntan, again.
No problem.
Okay. Can you put the sound?
Hello. Can you hear me?
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. I'll share my screen. Okay. Okay. Hello, everybody. So today topics we are talking about Web3 and how to make internet more connected. So first, let me introduce myself. My name is Pongsabutra Viraseranee, or you can call me Boom. I'm lead developer at Atato. So I've been working with Atato for 2 years. Yeah. And so we would like to start with some speech from Joe Lubin, who is the co-founder of Ethereum and founder of Consensus, about the future of Web3.
On their dependence.
And it will take like 1 minute.
As a cyber citizen, I love and need Google and Amazon, but the unfair advantages that accrue to Amazon in its e-commerce activities and to the AWS cloud are staggering, as are those that are available to Google. A new and insidious kind of platform risk has emerged more recently. Just as platforms like LinkedIn, like Facebook, LinkedIn, and others have eaten the lunch of some startups over the years, clouds are now cannibalizing the profits of companies built around open source projects. AWS and some Asian cloud providers have been accused for a while of rewriting, reusing, and rebranding products without supporting the underlying open source, and often eliminating economic benefits to the for-profit companies that have commercialized those open source projects. Many would argue that this sort of behavior is perfectly acceptable under open source licensing. Others would argue that there's an implicit social contract and that companies like Amazon are not giving back when they capture value from the open source community. This kind of anti-competitive behavior is enabled by vertical integration. I believe the Web3 world would be largely horizontally layered with explicit interface promises between layers or between synergistic components at each layer.
Okay. So this speech is from DevCon 5, and you can see all the speech in YouTube. So what he described here is you can see it in the news even today. So if you have read the news, Apple and Epic Games, Apple is creating a walled garden ecosystem where, like, when you wanna enter like in a mobile Apple store, you need to have to play by their rules. So there are some unfair competition. Like, for example, you need to pay 30% transaction fee to Apple. So imagine you are like Spotify. You wanna sell your music. You need to like pay 30% to Apple, while Apple Music don't pay anything. And like Epic Games is currently like trying to sue Apple, since all in-game transaction you need to pay like 30% to Apple, which is a lot. Also, if you look at the news recently in Thailand, you can see like Facebook is getting pressure from the government for censoring the data. So as you can see, Facebook will decide which data to get censored or not to get censored. So this is the problem of Web 2.0 that we are currently being in. So you can see there's problems like there are no payment method by default in Web 2.0. There are no identity like by default in Web 2.0. There's no transparency, and like everything is closed walled garden by default. So which led to like most applications is income come from ads, and you can see Web 2.0 you can be censored, like you can see in the previous example. And also there's no privacy since everything runs on ads. Your data mostly gets sold. And also user data is the value of the company. You are the product of the company. So what I'm trying to say is we have Web3. So what happened is we have Web3 as, for example, MetaMask, you can have Web3 address natively to Web3, and you can do token payments, and everything is transparency since it's a blockchain, and you can go to any blocks explorers to see transactions. And it's also by default easy to connect with other apps. As you can see in band protocols, you can connect a lot of stuff with them. And what's cool is those technology are available now, today, and anybody can access it. So next, I want to share about this diagram. So I would like to call it collaborative Internet of Maker. So what it mean is, instead, imagine if it's Apple, then everything from top to bottom is controlled by Apple. But however, with this maker, they allow other applications to interact with them without permission, and they do it by default. As you can see, Maker has compound that can interact with Maker to do lending for DAI, and you can do Uniswap with that DAI token. And also on the like top layer, for example, Instadap, they can see blockchain information. So this is quite new comparing to like the old Web 2.0.
Well, if I can just add something on this diagram, it looks kind of scary, but actually it's not, and it's a very good example because for the first time, what blockchain brings is actually a new business model. And the approach that Maker has done, for the people who are not familiar with Maker, this is a decentralized finance protocol. And they basically open their software to everybody to build on top of it. And everybody can do whatever they want, and they just use Maker on the base layer. So if you work with a company like Apple, Google, or Amazon, this is what Joe Lubin is presenting in his speech. Say that today you are a user and you like it, it's convenient, but basically it's restricting a lot of innovation and competition. And what blockchain brings, actually, it's this kind of new business model where everybody can be on top of each other. It's a new economy, and that's what we call Web3. So.
Okay, so to get back to the news today. So imagine in the future, there's no Apple walled garden system, but however, there's awesome game store. Imagine you want to sell stuff. You don't need permission from anybody like Apple to grant you to be able to be in the store. So imagine they can have ERC-721 tokens as, for example, like game items, and you can buy directly from them using smart contract. And also a game, other game, third-party game can interact with that tokens. So they can access token without any permission by default. So this is an example that how blockchain can change the world and fix the problem we have today. So we are Atato, so we will make blockchain easy. And if you have any problem, feel free to like type it in the chat area. Thank you.
Thank you, Khun Pong, and thank you very much for your presentation. And I know it's not something which people have normally grasped easily, because this is new business models. And but actually, to continue the conversation on this one, I have one question. Since all the technology is here, and what do you think is limiting the adoption?
I think simply the ease of use. Since, for example, Chrome browser is Web3, like MetaMask is not installed by default. People still need some time to learn how to use it. Also, like for mobile phones, it's not like natively supported in phone browser too. So it's about usability, ease of use in the system.
And Khun Tan, if you don't mind, if you are okay to reply, do you have an opinion on this one? What do you think today is limiting the use of Web3 application?
Yeah, so my opinion personally is that one is, of course, the level of like assumed knowledge that a lot of the industry kind of have, like the base knowledge that is required to start building something on Web3 is quite high, in my opinion. And another thing is, in my case anyway, it took a while for me to know where the resources are to start learning how to actually develop applications on top of blockchains and using Web3.
Okay. And what we believe as well is that there is no big, I would say, application, and it's not becoming mainstream yet, because basically it's not implemented in your day-to-day browser. A lot of people here which are using cryptocurrency or working blockchain are using the Brave browser. So this is the same thing as Google Chrome or any other browsers, but this is enabling Web3 application. And this is kind of a limited community using it, but it's growing very fast. And I encourage you guys to see this browser called Brave, B-A-A-V-E. And you can start actually integrating MetaMask and all those Web3 applications that are going to be the future of how we distribute our information and money. And so I will put it on the chat if you're interested for this one. And I would like to ask you both actually as developers, and because we have a lot of those questions. If you are a young developer today and you want to start in blockchain, how do you do? Where do you start? What was for you? It was maybe a bit earlier than today, but if today a young developer would like to start on blockchain, what would be your recommendation?
Okay. So for me, like everybody first project of kind of like hello world of blockchain is kind of like create your own token, right? So I think like the first good place to start is know the tools, right? So the first few tools I would recommend is Truffle, MetaMask, and I think like the standard tokens like ERC20, I think is like the good place to start. It's like the hello world of blockchain. And
yeah, for me personally, I'm someone who likes to build to learn something from like the fundamentals, right? And this is how I got started in the whole blockchain industry as well. So I started with by reading the Bitcoin and Ethereum white paper to actually get a sense of how things work on the lowest level, almost the lowest level possible. And then as has been previously said, start learning the tools and the actual ecosystem or the set of stack that is required to actually build applications and things on top of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Khun Sawit is asking exactly, and can you share your experience if you have been, I mean, how did you train? Khun Boom shared anything, but for example, in your previous job, were you doing blockchain before by yourself, or did you learn just recently? Khun Tan.
Oh yeah. So for me, so when I first joined BandChain protocol, right? So as I said, I start by learning the Bitcoin and Ethereum and what they are, and then learning all the standards like ERC20 and all the token standards. And I was fortunate enough to have a lot of like really talented colleagues to work with. So they helped me a lot in understanding where to start and how to proceed to give me like a rough idea of the roadmap that I should be following and the language or the tools that I should be learning to get familiar with the whole development process.
Okay, and to reply as well to Khun Sawit, if you there is another Thai company called Loom Network. I believe you guys know about it, which is doing a software called Crypto Zombie. And if you want to learn about development on blockchain development and Solidity development in that case, this is actually a very nice tool, very easy to start with, and basically you are creating a zombie with blockchain. And yeah, any questions on the chat? Teresa, do you have any questions that you want to? And basically also, if you would like to learn more about blockchain, you can contact us at Atato as well. And we have actually junior developers and full stack engineers, people with 20 years of experience and as well juniors. So we are always, you know, we do this meetup as well to bring knowledge to the community, and we'll be happy to point you out to any blockchain material, trainings, information that we have. And anyway, if you would like to develop on blockchain, you can contact us, and we are actually recruiting some people. So this is a good way to learn blockchain with us. And any question from the chat tonight? It's very quiet. No? A lot of people actually bought BandChain protocol token and wanted to know from Khun Tan where the price is. Teresa, you want to add something?
Would you mind to share with us more about, I mean, for those companies' use case, if they are looking for blockchain solution? I mean, like from your previous experience, or like what kind of company you are actually looking for to help them to adopt the blockchain technology?
So if you're a mainstream company and you don't have blockchain developer in your team, and you would like actually to build a blockchain solution, this is what we are doing basically at Atato. So we train the people, we develop smart contracts, we build token, and this is what we have been doing for the past 3 years in different fields. So if you have any blockchain project, come to see us and we will guide you, and we will show you what we have built before and what actually blockchain can do for your business. So I hope I replied to your questions. And also, if you want to know more about blockchain, on our LinkedIn page, we always post some articles about the return on investment of blockchain projects. Why did we choose Ethereum over any other platform to build blockchain platform? You can check. I think someone from the team can actually put it on the chat, and this is a good reference to start with. Anything else from the chat today?
No.
I think everything is clear. Everybody knows what is an oracle and how they are going to use it. Well, if no more questions, I will put some information on the chat for people who wanted to have Guillaume is doing it. And yeah, please, thank you very much, everybody, for joining tonight for this meetup, 11th edition. Thank you so much for Khun Tan, actually, for the presentation. I know you are quite busy, you guys at Band at that time, so we really appreciate you take the time for the community. And thank you very much, Khun Boom, for your presentation on Web3. I hope you guys learned something tonight, and if you need anything else, we are here for you. So thank you again for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right.